Dudaram Shinu Sukadam Sukadam Bhavasaram Shavadvita Dashakarupa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Jayadev Goswami Dashavatar Stotra Ki. O Keshava, o Visatos viešpatė, o viešpatė Hari, kuris įgyja pusiau žmogų, ta prasme, kuris įgyja nikštuko brahmano pavydalą, visa šlovė tau, o nuostabusis ništuk, savo gigantiškais žingsniais tu apgavai karalių balį, o Gangos vandeniu, kuris ištryško iš tavo lotusinių pėdų panagių, tu išvaduoji visas gyvas būtybės šiame pasaulyje. Shri Vamanadevos ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, so now first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. And we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to hear about Lord Vamanadeva. Can I get a little more volume? Hare Krishna. So, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have knowledge about the various avatars of Krishna. And what is the purpose of Krishna's coming to this world? He comes to attract us back to the spiritual world. So he comes to revive the religious principles for human beings. And he destroys the influence of the demons. And he gives pleasure to the devotees. One way he does that is by displaying his very pleasing and attractive pastimes of love. And another way he does it is by giving instructions and lessons by which we can learn to come out of the influence of the illusory energy. So these narrations of the Lord's pastimes are ever fresh and pure like the flowing water of the Ganges. So the Vaishnavas, since time immemorial, gather to hear and chant the glories of the Lord in His various incarnations. So today we will hear some of the translations and comments of Srila Prabhupada from the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam. As we know, there are 10 subject matters in the Bhagavatam. And one of them is Ishanukata, discussions about the Lord when He comes in His different forms. So this is a very significant incarnation, Lord Vamanadevos. And this pastime is celebrated for many, many generations, especially in India. Because this pastime ultimately will lead us to the point of full self-surrender. Self-surrender is called Atma-nivedanam. And that's not possible for a person who is in the beginning stages of devotional service. Hare Krishna. But, and we may not be able to imitate the activities of the pure devotees like Bali Maharaj. But by hearing the words and activities of pure devotees, the effect is we become inspired. And desire awakens in the heart. And one day maybe I can also give everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And in reality, our life is based on desire. And by celebrating such auspicious days like today, we bit by bit, step by step, we increase and enhance that desire to fully surrender at the lotus feet of Krishna. So it's a great opportunity we have. So in the 8th canto, chapter 19, text 20, we'll start from text 21 and go to 24. We'll just discuss at first these few texts. Okay. Yeah, 21 to 24. 8, 19, 21. Okay, find it. Okay, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yavanto Vishaya Preshthas Trilokam Ajitendriyam Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Pratipurayatum Nripa. Personality of Godhead said, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. So this morning, Kedarnath Prabhu told in brief, in summary, the history of Vamanadevos. So I won't repeat the circumstance of his appearance. But I'd like to focus on some of the lessons that we can take from his interaction with Bali Maharaj. So, as we know, Vamanadevos has entered the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj. And the Lord's form is so attractive and effulgent that there doesn't need to be an explanation of who he is. Just like when you have, for example, these lightning bugs, fireflies, we call them, at night, and they light up in different colors, and it looks very nice. But when the sun rises, they're still putting on their light, but you can't see it. So when Bali Maharaj entered the arena, when Vamanadevos entered the arena, his attractive qualities and his effulgence was so great that it made the other great personalities seem less important. And because Bali Maharaj is a descendant of Prahlad Maharaj, he could recognize the great qualities of this little Brahmana. And following in the footsteps of his grandfather, he offered the Brahmana anything he would like. So then, Vamanadevos, he very humbly asked for only 3 steps of land. And Bali was a little bit confused. He said, yeah. He said, but you have the form of a young boy, but you speak such great wisdom. But at this important point of asking charity, you seem to go back to your intelligence of a boy. Because most people, if they're given such an offer, they'll think, wow, what can I get for myself? Imagine, like that story of Aladdin, with the genie and the lamp. Genie said, I can give you 3 wishes, what do you want? And when I was a little boy, my friends used to tell me, what would you ask for? And the standard answer among me and my friends was, first wish is, I wish for unlimited wishes. But I remember in the Disney movie, he said, no, you can't do that. That's one rule. It's not allowed. You can't ask for more wishes. But Bali Maharaj, he didn't give any conditions. Anything you want, you can have. But we know who Vamanadevos is because he appeared in the form of Vishnu before he took the form of this Brahmin. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he owns everything. So what could Krishna want? Does he want anything? So, Bali Maharaj said, you seem very wise, but on this point you're making a mistake. So now we're hearing how Vamanadev replies to him. Okay, so next text is 22. You can read the translation, Prabhu. Text 23. Is that 23 or 24? And 24. Now, you can go to the purport and please read the final paragraph. 24, yes. Just the last paragraph. We don't have much time. So here Vamanadeva is teaching us about the cause of happiness. So the basis of happiness is contentment. In today's world, we are trained to always feel discontented. Is that a word? Your phone doesn't have 3 cameras on it, so it's not good enough. And the style of dress is always changing. Hairstyle. It's amazing. So many men in different countries I've seen, they have the same hairstyle. It's like the samurai thing, where it's like long on the top with a little ponytail in the back. And then the men are competing with each other to see who can develop more big muscles. The women also compete with each other in different ways. And the children are exposed to so much advertising on television, on their phones. So this is the result of no rabbinical culture. Because the more one is satisfied with what he has, then the more he can actually develop his spiritual life. But that type of happiness is not even known to the modern people. So it's a very dark time we live in, actually. People don't know that there's a happiness that is not dependent upon the external circumstances. So Vamanadevos is reminding us to be satisfied and to always remember him. Now we'll jump ahead to text 32. Now here we're going to learn a further lesson in surrender. So please read the translation, Prabhu. Who's speaking here? Can anyone say? Good. So, this is the... Who is Shukracharya? Say again? Yeah, he's a Gurudev. Yes. He's the Gurudev of Guru Maharaj is speaking. And he's warning him. Because he's very learned, Shukracharya. He knows the scriptures. And he recognized the symptoms of Vishnu in this Brahmin dwarf. But he's using his intelligence how to completely avoid surrendering to Vishnu. Krishna describes such people in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Mayaya pahrita jnana. It means that a person may appear very intelligent, but he's actually misusing his intelligence. So, education can actually be dangerous if given to the wrong person. One time Prabhupada was on a train in India with his disciple Rameshwara Swami. And they were looking at the beautiful countryside, all the villages. Prabhupada said to Rameshwara Swami, Rameshwara Swami said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, how will we spread Krishna consciousness here? They cannot read. They're illiterate. They cannot even read. Oh, Perashti. And Prabhupada, I heard Nirishtingi. Okay, sorry. So Prabhupada said, yes, that is Krishna's blessing upon them. Because they cannot read, they do not have to listen to the nonsense theories of Darwin. He has saved them. Charles Darwin, evolutionary theory. He has protected them. Yes. So that is it brings up the question, what is the goal of education? Okay, so now we'll continue to text 33. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing how he could actually foresee what was going to happen? So that's an intelligent person. Okay, next text.
Iš pradžių Vamanadeva vienu žingsniu peržengs 3 pasaulius ir taip juos pasisavins. Po to jis žengs antrą žingsnį ir užims visą tai, kas egzistuoja kosminėje erdvėje. Galų gale jis išsiplėtos visatos pavidalu, kuriuo viską užpildys. Kur tuomet pasiūlysi jam žengti 3 žingsnį?
Reminds me of Duryodhana. He actually saw the universal form of Krishna. It's described in the Mahabharata. So not only Arjuna, but actually, when Arjuna saw the universal form, I think almost everyone on the battlefield did not see it. So it must have been interesting for people to see how Arjuna is reacting. What's going on? You know? But Duryodhana also saw a different universal form of Krishna. But Bhakto si me sakha cheti. Because Arjuna was a bhakta, the universal form had the effect of inspiring him to surrender. And Duryodhana, when he saw the universal form, he was doing material calculations. And he was thinking, this Krishna must be a pretty advanced mystic yogi. And he might even be the Supreme Lord. But never mind, I have certain things I need to do. So Shukracharya also, he recognizes the greatness of Vamanadeva. But his spiritual intelligence is eclipsed or covered by material desire. This is the problem with what are called smarta brahmanas. They know how to perform all the Vedic rituals. They can recite many stotras and different things. But they have their own agenda. They want to use religion to increase their sense enjoyment. So please read text 35. So here, what is the lesson for us in surrender? One thing came to my mind. If we want to give ourselves, if we want to sacrifice our life for Krishna's service, then we have to be ready to face ridicule. I looked at, because I knew this would be a difficult word. Payuaka. Payuaka. If we want to surrender to Krishna, we should be ready to face ridicule. So from different sides, people will blame us. Does anyone know the 6 divisions of surrender? 6 aspects of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. What does that mean? Yeah. And then Rakshashyatiti Vishvaso Goptritve Varanam Tata. What is that? Protected. That Krishna will always protect me. Then Goptritve Varanam Tata means Goptrit, it's Krishna is my maintainer. Yes, just like Gopal. In Vrindavan, all of the devotees are surrendered to Krishna. So it means that they consider he is my only maintainer. Doesn't mean we need to give up our relationships and think, I don't need my family, I don't need anyone, I'm just going to depend on Krishna. That can be just an external show, maybe. But we're speaking about an internal development. Which means that, okay, you know, I may be receiving care from others, but ultimately the source of that care is Krishna. We may have a loving father, or a husband, or a wife, or someone who maintains us. But we have to develop the understanding that the source of my maintenance is Krishna. And this person is Krishna's instrument. And the final part of this, the final two limbs of surrender, Atma Nikshepa, Karpanya, Shadvidha Sharanagati. So the final is total self-surrender and Karpanya, humility. Humility. Okay. So actually these six have as at their center one of these qualities is at the center. And that is Goptritve, accepting Krishna as the maintainer. Because if a person has such a disposition that Krishna is the source of everything for me, then all the other qualities manifest naturally. So, you know, this is a source of strength. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he was very angry with Prahlad and frustrated. Because he was saying, Prahlad, where do you get your strength? He was envious. Yes. So if someone becomes, Prabhupada used to say, if someone becomes a devotee of Krishna, enemies will appear. So then the devotee has to surrender. But it's important to note that Prahlad, in the example of Prahlad, he never responded to Hiranyakashipu's anger with hatred or anger. Ultimately, he was interested in the welfare of his father. And interestingly, actually, the Lord also was interested in the welfare of Hiranyakashipu. Yes, because everything Krishna does is all good. Even when he kills the demons, he's blessing them. So, this surrender begins with keeping the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. And there's many examples. There's Ambarish Maharaj. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor. He began by meditating on the feet of Krishna. And that was the beginning of full surrender. Step by step, his words were used to glorify the Lord. His hands cleansed the temple of the Lord. His ears were engaged in hearing glories of Krishna. He would use his eyes to see the deities. And he would use his legs to travel to Krishna's temples and to the holy places. It says also he would touch the bodies of devotees. He would smell the fragrance of the tulsi offered to the Lord. He would use his tongue in tasting prasadam. And all of his desires were engaged in serving the Lord's mission. And in this way he became free, actually completely free from material desire. And about learning to tolerate the ridicule of others. It says, here's a verse from Madhavendra Puri. Let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusioned. Let the person who understands morality accuse me of being illusioned. Principles? Accuse me. Accuse. Attack. I do not mind. It doesn't bother me. Experts in Vedic activities may say that I am misled. Friends and relatives may call me frustrated. My brothers may call me yeah. Friends and my brothers may call me a fool. And wealthy people may say that I am mad. Philosophers may tell me I'm very proud. But despite all of that, my mind does not move 1 inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. And a verse from Prahlad Maharaj. Dharmartha kama itiyo bihitas trivarga ikshatraina damo vividha chavarta manyetad etad akilam nigamasya satyam svatmarpanam sasuhrida paramasya pungsa. The 4 arthas, 3, religion, economic development, and sense gratification are the ways of achieving liberation. And of these, Different types of knowledge are means of livelihood, are ways to earn money so you can live.
Skirtingos žinios yra naudojamos tam, kad
Užsidirbt.
pragyventi.
So these are all different subjects of Vedic education.
Tai yra skirtingos temos vedinio mokymo.
And I consider them temporary.
Aš laikau juos laikinais.
On the other hand, surrendering to the Supreme Lord is factual gain in life.
Iš kitos pusės atsidavimas viešpačiui yra tikrasis
And-
turtas.
And I consider that the ultimate truth.
Ir aš tai laikau absoliučia tiesa.
Okay, so we'll go on to the next text, which is text 42. We'll skip ahead. Text 42.
42 tekstą dar paskaitysime. Todėl saugumo dėlei reikia pasakyti ne. Nors tai ir melas, jis padeda apsiginti, pažadinti aplinkinių užuojautą ir suteikia galimybę susirinkti iš jų daugiau pinigų. Vis dėlto smerktinas tas, kuris nuolat aimanuoja, kad nieko neturi, nes vis dar būdamas gyvas prilygsta numirėliui. Kitaip sakant, jį, nors vis dar kvėpuojantį, reikia nudėti.
So this is the verdict of spiritual master Shukracharya.
Tai yra pagrindinis pasakymas dvasinio mokytojo Šukračarijos.
It's and next text.
43 tekstas. Melas nesmerktinas. Pataikaujant moteriai, kad ši paklustų, juokaujant vedybų apeigose, užsidirbant pragyvenimui, iškilus mirtinai grėsmiai, ginant karves ir brahmaniškąją kultūrą arba gelbėjant žmogų nuo priešų.
So very convincing arguments.
Yra toks tvirtas argumentai.
Yeah. So imagine your spiritual master speaking to you like this.
Įsivaizduokite savo dvasinį mokytoją kalbant jums taip, kaip čia parašyta buvo.
And he's extremely intelligent.
Ir jis yra ypatingai išsimokytojas.
And you are risking everything that you own at this time.
Ir tuo metu tu rizikuoji visą tuo, ką tu turi.
Normally, under such circumstances, a person will be, his mind will be clouded.
Dažnai tokioje padėtyje atsidūrusio žmogaus protas jisai tampa tarsi padengtas.
At times of great pressure and tension, the mind usually becomes, how do you say, strained, unclear.
Kuomet yra patiriama, protas patiria didelį spaudimą ir įtampą, tuomet jisai tarsi sutrinka,
So-
nešvarus.
So, Bali Maharaj actually had extremely sharp intelligence also.
Bali Maharajas jisai turėjo labai tvirtą, aštrų intelektą.
He wasn't studying the scriptures like his spiritual master,
Jisai nestudijavo taip intensyviai šventraščių kaip jo dvasinis mokytojas,
but his intelligence was given by Krishna, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam.
bet jam intelektą suteikė pats Krišna.
So how is that? He was a demon.
Taip, jisai buvo irgi demonas.
So, Prabhupada answers how Bali Maharaj could so clearly understand the situation.
Prabhupada paaiškina, kaip čia taip įvyko, kad Bali Maharajas taip aiškiai suvokė šitą visą situaciją.
So we'll go to the next chapter,
Pereikime į kitą skyrių.
text number 3.
Trečią tekstą paskaitysiu. Aš, Maharadžos Prahlados anūkas, argi man dera pasidavus godumui, sulaužyti savo pažadą po to, kai jau pasakiau, kad atiduosiu šią žemę. Kaip galiu tarsi paprasčiausius sukčius kažką apgauti, tuo labiau brahmaną.
It would be nice to read the purport, but I don't know if we have time. Why don't we start? I'll just read a little bit of the purport.
Pradėsime truputį komentarą paskaityti.
The Yagya Patnis were the wives of ordinary brahmanas.
Jagya Patnis buvo eilinių brahmanų ritualinių apeigų vykdytojų žmonų. Šie itin apsišvietę brahmanai gerai išmanė Vedas, tačiau nesugebėjo palyginti Krišnos ir Balaramos malonių. O jų žmonos, nors ir paprastos moteriškės, pasiekė atsidavimo tarnystės aukštumas. Lygiai taip ir aukščiausianis Bali Maharadža. Iš pradžių įgijo Praklados Maharadžos malonę, o paskui jo malonę sulaukė ir viešpaties Višnu malonės. Pats aukščiausiasis stojo priešais jį išmaldos prašančio Brahmačarijos pavidalu. Taip Bali Maharadža pelnėsi ypatingą guru Višnos malonę, tapo Kripas Sirva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taip pat pabrėžė malonės svarbą. Guru Krishna prasadė Paja Bhakti Lata Didža. Praklados Maharadžos malonę karalius Balis gavo atsidavimo tarnystės sėklą, kuris sudygo ir subrandino vertingiausią šios tarnystės vaisių – meilę Dievui. Prema Arto Mahan.
Okay. Is there more to that sentence? Okay. So, Bali Maharaj had the seed of prema because he was associated with Prahlad Maharaj. So even though he was fighting for the demons for many long years, he achieved such an amazing accomplishment. He conquered all the planets. Yes. Even Alexander the Great couldn't conquer this one planet. So he had every reason to be proud. Yes. But because of association with a pure devotee, he had been blessed with the seed of devotion. So Krishna knows everybody's heart. A person may be in the be living the life of a demon, but in the past he may have done some service to a Vaishnava, and because of that, there is a dormant attraction for the Lord in his heart. Therefore, we cannot judge a person just based on his current life situation. Yes. Just like when we distribute books. We don't think this person is not qualified to take a book. If you think like that, it becomes quite boring and bland. I was in Slovakia last week and I met a young man. He looked like a gangster. I told him, you look like the white version of Snoop Dogg, bro. You look like the white version of Snoop Dogg. He laughed. And I said, hey, what's up, man? I want to show you something. And I could tell immediately, this boy is intelligent. Yes, just the way he looked at me. I told him, listen, all of the science of the absolute truth is in this book. And you know what? You know what he did? He looked up at me and he said, I've been looking for this. He said, I think the answer that I'm looking for in my life is in the path of yoga. And he said, how much would you like for this book? And I felt so honored to meet this person. I mean, externally he had tattoos, he had like loose street clothing. But he genuinely appreciated the books and he was very respectful. I think from the first time I saw him, my mind said, "Don't talk to this guy, man. He's probably just a drug dealer." But at moments like that, we have to beat our mind. Give a good body slam to the mind. And I just approached him respectfully. Trinadapi sunichena. I'm not on this level, but anyway, Mahaprabhu teaches Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna. We should learn to actually deal with everyone in a humble state of mind. Super soul is in everyone's heart. We can have faith that the super soul will inspire the person to respond appropriately. So a large part of preaching is that the preacher should have faith that Krishna in the heart of the other person will help them become a devotee. And people can feel when you have faith in them. Yes. And that just having faith in another person, having respect for another person, can help that person achieve great things. So Vamanadevos, he wasn't interested in getting something for himself. He wanted to reclaim the whole universe, to take it back. Not because he's proud. Not because he's proud. But because he wants to protect his devotees. And even though Bali Maharaj looked like a demon, Vamana saw, you're a devotee. On the other side, a person can look like a devotee, but inside he may be harboring, what's the easier word for that? He may be holding on to material desires. He may be wanting respect, fame, recognition. And if he's not careful to take out those weeds around the bhakti lata, then they can grow stronger than the bhakti lata. And he can develop the attitude of a demon. So Krishna is in the heart and he knows everyone. It's better that we surrender, otherwise we'll be forced to show our true colors in time. So, and if we have that seed of devotion within us, if we then Krishna will also arrange circumstances so that it will grow and bear fruit in time. Goptritve varanam tata. Faith that whatever Krishna gives me in life is the best thing for me. And that takes also intelligence. To know when to fight, to be strong, and when to be very lenient. Prabhupada was a perfect example. Yes. One time, person in a public lecture, a person asked, Prabhupada, you say what is the difference between transcendental meditation and Krishna consciousness?
Ir per paskaitą, viešą paskaitą, vienąkart žmogus paklausė, koks yra skirtumas tarp transcendentinės meditacijos
And Krishna consciousness. So transcendental meditation is a famous organization started by a famous yogi.
transcendentinė meditacija, tai yra didelė garsi
And
organizacija.
And Prabhupada had not many nice things to say about this yogi. But in this circumstance, as a preacher, Prabhupada did not attack. It's not that in every circumstance the preacher has to smash and bash. So what was Prabhupada's answer? Very simple. He said, Krishna consciousness means to always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that was effective. That's all he said. That's all he said. So, yes, Krishna will arrange for if we have faith in Guru, Krishna will arrange for us to develop full-blown prema. So, also we learned in this purport that Bali Maharaj is Kripa Siddhi. Means he received the special mercy of Guru and Krishna. So his real Guru was Prahlad Maharaj. And how did that seed develop into the fruit or the flower of prema? By his contact with Lord Vamanadevos. Yeah, so Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. If one gets the mercy of Guru, he gets the mercy of Krishna. So what is the result of that prema? Just like we may be doing so many services throughout the day and working hard for Krishna. Like I noticed these garlands here today. They're so carefully crafted. That takes time, energy, intelligence. And, devotees are building the ashram also, working so hard. So by remaining absorbed in these activities all day, we might expect, I should be feeling some transcendental emotions. I might think, as a result, I should be feeling transcendental emotions. But like we said in the beginning, we might not experience bhava immediately, but we will get contentment. Yes. And then that will help us to be steady in our service. And then one day, by Krishna's sweet will, we will actually come in contact with the Lord in an unpredictable way. The spiritual senses will awaken. And we can actually experience the transcendental existence of Krishna. And then we will understand clearly why everything in our life happened the way it did. So Bali Maharaj in his heart was full of gratitude. Because he understood that all of this was arranged simply for his benefit. He was so grateful that he thought, even if I go to hell, I don't mind. So, and just we'll read one more thing. Text 9.
O iškiliausias brahmane, daugybė vyrų nepabūgę kovos paguldė savo galvas mūšių lauke. Tačiau retai kam pasitaiko galimybė su tikėjimu ir atsidavimu atiduoti savo sukauptus turtus šventajam, kuris savo buvimu pašventina žemę.
So this is his response to Shukracharya. How rare is it to meet a person who is worthy of charity? What to speak of the ultimate charity of surrendering yourself? Yes. Because Bali Maharaj, when Vamanadevos assumed the universal form, he took all the universe back. Assumed, yeah. When he took the universal form, then Bali Maharaj was thinking, what is even greater than the universe? Well, what is greater than wealth? The owner of the wealth must be greater. So what is the head of Bali Maharaj in comparison to the whole universe? He just stepped through the whole of the universe. So what about the third step? He offered his head thinking that the owner of the wealth must be greater than the wealth. So we can give the result of our activities for Krishna's service. But ultimately, our practice should lead to the same stage as Bali Maharaj achieved. And that is the essence of sannyas. Karmana manasa gira, word, body and mind. And the very self in the service of Krishna at every step. So, and we see from this verse that Bali Maharaj was not a sentimentalist. Devotees may have intense emotions and feelings for Krishna. But everything they do and say is completely full of knowledge. Satchit Ananda. The soul is not only Ananda but also Chit. Sometimes I would wonder, how is it that Krishna's friends and relatives don't understand Krishna's godhood? Aren't they full of knowledge? And the answer, I found one answer. They are full of knowledge. But their love for Krishna is so intense. It is so deep that it covers their knowledge. Yes, the knowledge is there. They are fully aware of the transcendental science. But because the desire to serve Krishna intimately is so strong, that knowledge is covered.
Dėl gilaus ir stipraus noro artimai tarnauti viešpačiui, visos tos žinios yra padengtos.
And at times, they can display that knowledge
Kartais taip įvyksta, kad jie gali apreikšti tas žinias
for some certain purpose in Krishna's pastimes.
tam tikrais Krišnos žaidimų momentais.
So Bali Maharaj also is full of knowledge,
Bali Maharajas jisai taip pat turi visas žinias,
and he has love for Krishna.
jis turėjo meilę Krišnai,
And his every action is perfect.
visa jo veikla jinai gavo tobulumą, buvo tobulumą.
Yes, because he's guided by the Supreme Lord.
Dėl to, kad jis turėjo vedimą vadovavimą viešpačiui.
And he's guided by the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj.
Ir jis gavo tą vadovavimą dėka Bali Maharajo.
So those are some of the thoughts I had about this pastime,
Tai buvo mintis keletas minčių
about the appearance of Lord Vamanadev.
dėl apsireiškimo.
So again, I thank you very much for your patience. And Lord Vamanadev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki. So we can have some kirtan now, unless someone would like to maybe make a comment or share something.
Gal norėtų dar liksime kirtaną, bet gal prieš tai norėtų kas nors pakomentuoti.
Hare Krishna. Actually, by recognizing that our heart is hard and we have material desires, just by recognizing that, we are already on the path of surrender.
Vien jau suvokus, pastebėjus, kad mūsų širdis yra pilna troškimų ir kieta, jau tai yra kelias į atsidavimą.
Because a materialist, he thinks everything's fine. I'm a good person.
Viskas ką jisai galvoja, geras asmuo.
But a person who's advanced in devotional service, he thinks, I'm very crooked. Yes, and I'm in desperate need of rectification. I need to be corrected. So that's very pleasing to Gaura. The main qualification is to accept that we have no qualification. And just like Kedarnath Pran Prabhu described today, just bowing down is pleasing to Krishna. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mam me vaishasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Just always think of me. Become my devotee. Offer your worship to me. Worship me. And bow down to me. In this way you will come back to me. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. So we can tell Gaura, please accept me. And Mahavadanyaya avatar, Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most magnanimous form of Krishna. That means that he accepted Jagai and Madai. So he can accept us. And it's a wonderful advice from Jagadishwara. We have so much we can give, actually. You have so much you can give. Our words and our service and any imperfections that will be cleared up. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Namnamakari bahudha nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita nematasmaranyankanta adrishita kripa bhagavan. Durdaivam idrishami hajani nanaraga. He said, I'm so unfortunate that I have no taste for this, hearing and chanting. So even he was experiencing the struggle of a new devotee. So we should know that it's pleasing to Krishna that we're continuing the struggle. Does that help? Does that answer? Would you like to share some thoughts on that? Maybe you have some realizations also. I'll tell just... Do you have something? No? I'll tell just one thing. A pastime with Prabhupada. Prabhupada was so kind to his disciples. He remembered every service. Even we forget what service we did. But the Guru and Krishna never forget. And you know, one time the devotees were trying to get permission from the city to perform Rath Yatra. And they got it. They got permission and they came to Prabhupada and showed him. Prabhupada asked, how did you do this? Well, Prabhupada, they don't know that we have 3 very large Rath Yatra carts that will be going down their street with thousands of devotees. So we told them, we're going to have a little parade in the city. We will be carrying 3 carts with us. In English, cart, it sounds like a little wagon, you know. And they said, no, they agreed, okay. They signed the paper. And Prabhupada was laughing. He said, yes, this is in our line. This is in our line. It's in our tradition. Just like when Vamanadevos told Bali, I'll take only 3 steps. So we'll just have 3 carts. And in this way, in like a needle, out like a plow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Srinitaya Gaura Chandra ki. Shri Vamanadevos Bhagavan ki. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyeva patitana. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prasadam after the arti.